What is happening, everyone? Richard, Elemental ATV. I do have a little bit of exciting news, just a little bit exciting news. The snorkels are done. It might have took me a little bit longer to get here than others. There was some mistakes made along the way, but I think I finally come to a conclusion. So stay tuned, and we're gonna go to the machine and see what I did and the reasons why I did them. All right, these snorkels. Wow.
Wow. Wow.
The story in a nutshell, I bought a kit that I didn't like and I didn't use it. That's the bottom line. I paid almost $500 for the kit. I thought I could make it work and it didn't work. I didn't like it. So it's sitting over there in the corner. I'm sure all you guys knew that. During the summer, I ran the snorkels up to the airbox pod and left them there for a little while until I could actually get back and find a snorkel riser for the top. And tried to do things on my, well, I didn't try. I did things on my own. Got a little bit of help from other people. You know, we gotta just be more like RSD over here. This guy helps. He has a lot of good suggestions. Don't you, RSD? That guy can talk. You wanna know somebody? This guy can talk your ear off. I'm telling you. There's not a lot of scramblers in the area. I did have help from local people and I appreciate them. Check out Andrew Pruner, Quad City Brawlers. We'll take a look at this. He made the actual airbox intake for me because I didn't like the way the other one was. It just wasn't gonna work it just wasn't gonna work. I just kind of started everything over again and it was an extremely difficult road. It's not that the kit I bought was a bad kit, because it wasn't. That company, Snorkel Your ATV, they actually put out good kits. It's just the one for this was it's very difficult to snorkel the Scrambler. There were other kits to try. There was the high lifter kit. It's just one of those things, guys, where you just like you make a decision based on what you see and you like it, and it just happens. You know, you get it here and it's just not what you expected. So that's the biggest reason why I didn't use it. It just wasn't what I expected. There's a few problems along the way. We're going to go to the bike. I'll explain those problems. And I'm going to try to help a few people out if they're not or undecided about what to buy. Don't do what I did. Just now you know what not to buy. The SYA Warrior kit. I would highly advise against it. Mind you, SYA does put out other kits and really good kits. Just not the Warrior kit for this one, which it's just the way that it is. Not talking shit about SYA. In fact, there's somebody just local here bought SYA kit for the side-by-side and it went on 20 minutes. Done. I guess you can't fault the company for trying to snorkel a very difficult machine that's difficult to snorkel in the first place. So anyways, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. And let's go to the bike, get the GoPro, and we'll see what I did and why I did it. Let's go. RSD knows. He's my buddy. Eh? Look at you. Look at you. He always helps. Anyways, here it is. Let's just cut the bullshit and let's just get right down to business. So basically, this is the stock OEM CVT out extension. Rubber extension usually comes out about over here. I had cut that. Now they had me cut it a little bit too short, I felt, because when I actually started putting their kit on this way, it was all cockeyed down, and when it came out this side, it was actually pointed towards the fender. It was not a straight shot to the front of the machine. That was one thing I didn't like. There's lots of other things. I'm just going to say some things that come to mind. So basically, I reused that piece. I would suggest if anybody was going to do this on their own, that you cut that piece about halfway, and that gives you lots of room. This is a 2-inch piece, and I put a 2-inch collar. Of course, everything's double clamped here as well, double clamp there, double clamp, everything's double clamped. Double clamped and used the right stuff gasket maker, or gasket stuff. It's amazing. But how could it not be? It's the right stuff. So we come into the back, I tie in here underneath this plate, and let's go around this side. and this is, I'm going to talk faster because there's lots to talk about. I don't want to be here all afternoon. You can see how that is nice and solid. I come straight across the back. This is all heat wrapped like 4 times. Yes, I probably should have used PVC. It's a little more heat resistant, but I'm not going to keep this bike forever. This is not a house where you're piping a furnace and you have to worry about 10 years down the road. I can guarantee I won't have this bike in 10 years, so for now it doesn't matter. Everything is quadruple heat wrapped. Back here, as you can see, it's very tight. Now, I have been out quite a few times, and this heat wrap isn't even, it doesn't even feel touched by the heat. So I think we're good there. Basically, I come around in 90 to here. I will tell you that the old kit came down about this area, and then it came up on an angle this way and out this way. So this piece was actually pointing at the fender, and it was impossible to get the flex hose on. Absolutely impossible. Another thing I didn't like, so I did this on my own. Comes right across the back. Yes, if I have to change the belt, I got to take this off here, and I got to take it off the other side. That's 5 minutes to take it off, and then I can get at this. Hopefully, I don't ever blow a belt on the trail. A little older and wiser. If you feel like you've burnt your belt, then you need to replace it. So in the kit, I believe the CVT out actually came underneath this way, or came over top this way and went behind the airbox and come out the top this way. And then the intake for the CVT came down around and this way. Now what the kit actually showed was that this is 2-inch flex pipe, and it's solid. Like, this stuff is solid. You just can't go around any old corner. It's rigid. This is steel inserts on this spiral. It is rigid stuff, really rigid. So it's very difficult to make tight corners with it. So what I found out easiest for this was to run the CVT in through the back, okay, the back of the airbox, and then the CVT out. Actually, if you ran it the way they had it, it was they wanted you to. Basically, there's a little hole here. If you guys are scramblers know, it's the hole between this piece of plastic, the footwell, and the fender where it all attaches. There's a hole about that big around, maybe that big. And they want you to fit this 2-inch rigid pipe through that hole. Well, what happens is it winds up pushing out on all of the plastics. And by the time you get to the outside of the fender, it was like almost 2 inches. 1 3/4, 2 inches gap right here because this is pushing out. Okay, so what I did was I actually took this piece and I ran it in behind the fuel tank protector, cut about 1 inch off of it, heat gunned the other corner, the other side, and pulled this out so it meets the inside of the fender a little bit better, and then I ran it up the back, and that took the pressure off of all these plastics. That was one massive issue with this thing. The 2 inch is great for airflow. It sucks for plastics and room. Okay, it really sucks. So you guys buying the high lifter kits, you all got 1.5 inch. This is 2. It's a huge difference. And I'm not the only one. There's a gentleman in the area with a 2018 about the same kit as mine from the same company, only he did the triangle up there. And he had the exact same issue. These guys had some issues, and they work on 4-wheelers all the time, and they were all losing their shit. This is not easy to do, especially when you buy it and you're not happy with it and you try to do it on your own. But we're moving on from there. So that's that explained. That's that explained. It comes up into here. The other kit wanted you to put a great big hole right here in your fender and run the one on the one side of the filler neck for the fuel and the other on the other side. There's just lots of things. There's more things that I'm not even going to explain, but this is the main part. So this here tucks up nice and neat. I did have to make this a little bit oval, only from about here to here, just where it meets the starter and behind, just to gain a little bit more room on the plastics, just a little bit. And I did peel off the piece of plastic that's here. There is a ridge along the bottom of it. I did cut that ridge off, and I kind of reworked with a heat gun the plastic a little bit just to kind of make it sit down nice, so that when you put in your plastic plugs to hold everything together, that they actually go in nice and there's no pressure pulling down on the plugs. So that's kind of it for this side, boys. Now, you know, in the summertime I ran this, it came underneath the pod, and everything was hunky-dory, and I left this stock for the summer. Now that I found an actual riser, things have to be, they take a little bit different of a turn. Okay, so let's move on to Andrew Pruner, Quad City Brawlers. He made this excellent stainless intake pipe, 2-inch. And I don't know about other kits. I just keep going back to the Highlifter one because it's one I'm kind of familiar with. The Highlifter one has either the CVT in or out, I'm not sure, comes straight through this opening. Okay, and I heard one guy wrote me and said, yeah, you need to kind of like make it kind of like I did on that side, oval it so it comes through here and then it takes its direction up this way. Well, this 2-inch pipe is not fitting through there. And you're not going to oval that and have that come around that corner because this is just so dense. Man, it's hard to maneuver. There's just no room in there with your high pressure fuel line. I've tried, I called around. There's no way to move that. It's stuck there. It's just the way it is. 2-inch versus 1.5, that's the reason why I didn't or couldn't come through there. This is the flex pipe that came with that kit, and I just wanted to use it because it's the one good thing in the kit that I really, really liked. So that's how that's all run. Now fast forward, Marty Krotz, is that your name? C-R-O-T-T-S. He's down in the States. Kind of looked up his profile. The guy knows his shit. People buy parts from him all the time. He sent me this fantastic Highlifter riser plate right here, and I was ecstatic when I got it. We have your 12-volt plug here, and we have your ignition. The way I have this running here right now, my 12-volt ignition stays exactly where it is, and I needed to get rid of the 12-volt plug, which I don't really use anyways, and all I did was just take the top off and silicone it back on, so nothing gets in there, and it looks fine. So there's no pressure on my ignition right here at all. Like, this doesn't hit it at all. Like, that is stationary, not moving, doesn't bounce around, out of the way. So I can take my plastics off over top of this and around it. Not too bad, actually. I was really impressed with how I can get it off. The problem is the angles with the bulkhead. That's the main issue. The angles with the bulkhead. Okay, because you got all this stuff in the way, and you got to make sure that the angles are fine. I go back to, I wanted to use 2-inch. I wanted to use 2-inch through the whole thing, 2-inch through the whole thing. The problem is there isn't enough room for 2-inch stuff up here. Every time you go to, like, the problem with the 2-inch is that it's just physically bigger and longer. So it takes up more room, and by the time you put like a reducer on here, and then put a 1.5 elbow or a 2-inch elbow, it's hitting the bulkhead down here. And there was just no room. And again, I'll remind everybody, I wasn't about to go out and buy another $500 kit. The only reason why I'm doing this is because I felt the end result was better than what I purchased. That's the only reason why I went through all of this stuff, everything, my bitching and whining and complaining. There's been some people that helped, and I appreciate their help, but a lot of the stuff was just trying to figure it out on my own. See what was going to work and where it was going to run, and I can still get the hood off. Yes, I can still get the hood off. The hood slips out from underneath. It's not that difficult. In fact, it's very easy. So yeah, I ran it out the right side. Again, I'm pretty sure that the Highlifter kit would go out the left, and one of the CVTs come up the left, and then your other CVT comes down through the front of the engine and then up this way. But unfortunately, with the 2-inch that I thought I wanted to use and keep using, it was impossible to get it through there. My hood can come on and off. Once I got everything ran under here, my piece of plastic says Scrambler. It's going to go on here nice, cover that up. I do have a bit of a gap here for shit to get in, but I can always make up some rubber piece or something that'll look half decent there. I'm not too happy with the with mounting, although as you can see, it's solid. It's not going anywhere. Everybody thinks that, you know, one guy mentioned, oh, you should have mounted it to the bulkhead. Well, there's no room back there when you're doing it on your own. You just don't mount it to the bulkhead. Do you see how far the bulkhead is back? It's way back there. Way back there. There's just no room. Again, if I was using somebody else's kit, it would be a different story. But there weren't people that were magically sending me another $500 feeling sorry for me, saying, Rich, you made a mistake, you dumbass, here's another $500, get yourself a good kit. There was nobody doing that. So I had to figure this out on my own, all right? I apologize if I'm a little uppity, but I don't like people that say after the fact, you should have done this and you should have done that. I actually don't mind the look. It's not that I couldn't take these back. A lot of guys are saying, so Northern Ontario Trail Stompers, I believe he was the first one to say, you get the, man, I don't know your name, but just comment below. I know it wasn't this stuff. You said this stuff was a little bit more expensive than the other gas stuff, but I don't mind the blockiness of it. I know it kind of looks, you know, somebody said, oh, it looks like it's homemade. Well, fuck, it is homemade. You know, it is homemade, so it is what it is, you know. But if I put some orange highlights on it, like maybe, you know, like I was saying on these areas here, it'll kind of detract it. And, you know, if I have some stickers on it, and before you know it, you'll be used to seeing it, and everyone else will forget that I just use off-the-shelf low stuff, and it won't even matter a few months down the road. The important thing is your main wiring harness that comes up to the pod is loose, which it is, does not bind on anything, and that your brake line is loose. Now, because this moves, there's some movement in there if it needs to, but for the most part, you really have to. Another issue I probably spent an hour and a half on was the handlebars and moving this stuff in and up to an acceptable point where it's not going to hit. As you can see, well, that hits there. Well, look at that. It does hit there. I'm going to have to take a little bit. And that's another thing I found out. You can fit this stuff all you want. It's like, oh my God, that's great. But when you start tightening clamps and you bring that stuff in just a little bit and you make things rock solid, shit moves. I've just figured that out, that this was nice before, but now it's hitting there, which I will, that's nothing. I just moved the handguard up. Same with that. We'll move the handguard up, or I'll just cut. That's not done yet, so I can just cut an inch off that or something. Not a big deal. So anyways, that's it, boys and girls. That's the way I did it. Now, my holes here I drilled a little bit bigger, and I just used those plastic plugs that the rest of the machine is put together with. And they plopped right in there. And there was a little bit of pressure on this, so I kind of had to hold it and push them in. Not much pressure, hopefully not too much that once this gets cold that it breaks. But I think that it's actually working together quite nicely as far as being safe and secure. This stuff is pushed back. It's going to, when it heats up and gets to where it needs to go and it stays there, it'll settle down and things will work quite nicely. I will say that yes, I can pop these out. And then all I do is lift this up like an inch or two and I can take my hood off. It slides out from underneath. I can get at everything under there. I can wire the machine. I can do everything that I want. I can understand why somebody would say, oh, just mount it to the bulkhead, but for doing this on my own, I'm not as experienced as some other guys, and when you're commenting on stuff, guys, you always got to keep that in mind, okay? Just kind of, you know, pick and choose what you say, and some people have good intentions, but the way it comes across online, man, sometimes it's just like, oh, yeah. Anyways, that's it. Yes, I can get the hood off. Yes, this is solid. Solid. Now, I think down the road, once I see how all this works, I'm going to take the hood off. I'm going to put stainless studs up from the bottom, and I'm going to put a nice piece of metal runner underneath there as well, just to tighten this up even more, and then use wing nuts that I saw. You guys follow I think it's Old Nasty 79. He put a Rogue fan shroud on his, and they have nice, he's got these really cool knobs, spin-on knobs on the top. I might go that route too, just so they spin off nice. But for now, man, like those are holding big time. Look at that. Like that's not that moving, that's the hood moving. Like that, this is solid. solid. This is a good piece. All right, I don't know how it's all gonna work. I'm going over my joints over and over and over to make sure that nothing is gonna leak before I start pissing around in the really, really deep water. This is sealed up here, this is sealed up here, this is sealed up here, this is sealed up here. My 2-inch is probably, hopefully, gonna be enough air for the box, I hope. It should be. Holy Christ, it only has to go like from here to here. It should pull it in just fine. I never had any issues with my 800, and that thing was at full throttle most of the time. Okay, so I didn't have any issue with it stalling out, choking out. In fact, if you guys remember the one video, the intake where it deposited in the side, there was a mud ball this big around right in the bottom corner. It was actually really funny. There's a root in there too. But if you decide to snorkel this on your own, be prepared for a lot of shit, okay? A lot of angles to go around, a lot of things. If you rush it, you will screw something up, I can guarantee it. Okay, so again, my suggestion, buy the high lifter kit. That's what I see. There's also another one. I know somebody's going to comment. It's not SYA. It's the other one. Diver Down. Was it Diver Down? Yeah, I believe it was Diver Down. Apparently makes a really good kit. You know, from experience, now that I've done all this stuff, now I can go back and look at other kits, and I can say, shit, okay. That's the one that I should have bought. But hindsight is always 20/20. Hindsight is always 20/20. And when you're trying to help somebody out and give them some advice, never try to remind them that they made the mistake. Always try to help push them forward. Help push them forward. Okay, guys? Right on, lads. That's it. I've talked too much, which I normally do. That's my experience with the Scrambler. Now everybody knows what happened, why it's taken so long. I am very happy with my Scrambler. It's extremely powerful. It's extremely fast. It's extremely comfortable. I love it. I'm gonna have to, now that I've done this, I would like to get a set of bar risers, but I don't know how that's gonna work. I'm gonna have to get rid of the pod and put the pod over here by the airbox and all that sort of stuff. So for now, that's good enough. Whoever did message me and kind of point me in the right directions with the snorkels, thank you very much. I appreciate all of that stuff. Everybody has a different situation in their machine. I didn't buy a Can-Am XMR that was already done. I didn't do that. I could have, but I didn't. I bought that, made a mistake with the kit, and we're just kind of moving on. And pretty sure it's not gonna leak, and I hope it's not gonna leak. It's not gonna leak. And we're just kind of moving ahead with stuff. That's it. I'm done talking. Thank you very much for coming out. I got some videos coming up. North Country Boys, Lyndhurst XM Army, other friends. Hopefully get out with ATV again at some point. Frig, haven't been out with anybody. And hopefully get out to Johnstown again onto the other side of the park, or the property, because there's way more mud holes over there. And get out to the park. And after that should be a snow ride, because by that time it'll be Christmas and we'll be in Christmas full effect. I got a new job. Hopefully it doesn't interfere with my ATVing. I really hope it doesn't, but it probably will. We'll have to see what the new year brings. Anyway, thank you all, you crazy son of bitches. Elemental ATV is out.